Welcome to the first episode of the Fenway finale. Today we're going to give our Red Sox predictions and give our overall outlook on the season. My name's Nick Diamond. I'm the host of the Fenway finale. I'm going to kick it off to my other host, James, and he's going to take it from here.
What's up, everyone? James Higgins at 15 Higgins on Twitter. Really excited to join Nick and the rest of the crew for a great season of Red Sox baseball. Talking Sox, been in this space before and excited to continue to go. Really looking forward to predicting the season tonight. Going to pass it over to Johnny to get the intros underway.
What's up, everybody? I'm John Hunter. I am a big-time Red Sox fan. Obviously, that's why I'm here. I am from Philly, which kind of gives us a different wrinkle here. But yeah, I'm super excited. I have my own podcast as well, The Frozen Rope. I do that. I talk about all of Major League Baseball, but I'd rather also, center on this and talk about Sox baseball. I'm really, really excited for the 2026 season. And now I'm going to kick it over to my man, Will.
Hey, everyone. Name's Will, Big League Will on all socials, mainly Instagram and on Twitter as well. I was going to say X, but yeah, Twitter. Longtime content creator online, gaming, sports, you name it. Recently switched to the card world, so baseball cards, football cards mainly. But yeah, love talking Sox. I've already talked my friends' ears off about the Sox, so finally found a place to, talk more Sox and and not annoy anyone. So really, really excited to be here, guys.
Get into cards, so I'm gonna talk to you about that soon.
Yeah,
I've been into it for about a year, but I'm not super heavy into it. So I've been meaning to ask you about that. So, of course,
I was comping out cards right before this. So
what's the best pull from Topps 26 Series 1 so far?
I got a purple sand glitter Roman Anthony rookie.
Numbered?
So it's not numbered, unfortunately, but it's basically the best you can get without it being numbered.
Oh, that's sweet. That's awesome.
Yeah. So that's going to the PC.
I've had some bad luck with the season 1 this year. I got like the 76, the American flag parallel Max Muncy, Dodgers Max Muncy, better one, I guess. So that was my best pull, but I bought a lot, and that was all I got. Literally all I got. I haven't got a single auto. I barely got. Last year I got a Dylan Cruz auto, like my first pack, and I sold it. Dylan Cruz rookie auto, and I kind of made my money back. So I was riding that high, and then I kind of just fell off in the next series in 2026. So those are my since a little kid, those are the only really packs I bought. So I'm getting back into it.
It takes one good pack, and then you're hooked. And then, every time you see in Target, you're like buying them. It takes one good pack.
It's the best part about going to Target.
So Nick,
it's gambling.
When you said Max Muncy, you meant the guy who was born on August 25th.
I don't know. I don't know what day he was born.
They're both born on that day.
They are
kind of crazy. There's two Max Muncys. Yeah. Both were born on August 25th, and they both were drafted by the Oakland A's. Pretty wild.
I knew they were both drafted by the A's. I didn't know what day they were born, though. That's kind of crazy.
Both born on the same day.
All right, so the first topic we have today is I just want to get your gauge on our excitement level in 2026 compared to 2025. I'm pretty excited. We had a crazy offseason. So if you want to give a little offseason recap and how you feel about the offseason, and then give me your excitement level for 2026 compared to 2025.
Yeah, I can kick it off.
Lead it off. I'm sorry.
Obviously excited for the season. As every baseball season, obviously very exciting. I would say a bit disappointing overall with the offseason, and not saying that they completely failed, but still failed to add that impact that we were all kind of hoping for. And I think we've all touched on it when talking, throughout the last portion of the offseason, just kind of recapping everything. Obviously got better pitching with Gray, with Suarez, and Suarez was the big addition. It was the panic move to losing Bregman that came 3 or 4 days later. But when they lost to the Yankees in the wild card series, it was always all right. Bregman for the lineup in 2026. They needed a bat, but they needed to A, retain Bregman, and then B, add another bat. And it wasn't like they retained Bregman and missed out on Alonso, Schwarber, whoever, or they got Marte or Alonso and then let Bregman go. They let Bregman go and kind of filled it with inferior level replacements. And that's not hating on Contreras. That's not hating on anything else that they did for the order. But it wasn't the offseason offensively that I think a lot of us had anticipated and wanted in terms of the impact, in the lineup. Because obviously you have Roman, but it's a ton of pressure to put on a 21, soon to be 22-year-old to carry the offense, and you're a Roman injury away offensively from really being in a tough position and relying on Story to stay healthy again. And he was phenomenal from June 1st on last year, but relying on him to stay healthy again. Durant, I think, is going to have a monster season and need to step up, but it's it's just one of those things where they did a solid job replacing. They did a solid job like filling it in with Contreras, but not getting Bregman and an impact bat, not even getting one there, and still having the outfield logjam. It just wasn't. It wasn't exactly how you drew it up.
I mean, I can agree with that. I mean, I'm a little bit more like I think I enjoyed the off season a little bit more, which is crazy. I know because of obviously like everyone wanted the bats and stuff like that, and I was fine with it. Because there was always the other thing that they needed to also do was to make sure that Brian Bayo came into this season not as the number 2.
100%. No, and that's why I wouldn't give it an F.
That
like
is,
I'd give it a B-.
But like what makes it better is that they made him the 4.
Yeah.
They didn't just make him a 3. They made him a 4,
right.
Which having him as a 4 also does so much. It takes a ton of pressure off of him because I swear that had a lot to do with it. Last year, we definitely saw the ERA look good, but his SIRI and his FIP weren't that good. So like you could see probably what would happen had in different situations, but the ERA looked good. He had probably his best year, and I hope that he just grows off that. But again, you added Ranger Suarez. There is issues with Ranger Suarez too. Again, I mentioned I'm from Philly. I've watched Ranger Suarez since he came up. Ranger Suarez has back issues. Ranger Suarez has never made 30 starts in a season. Those are things that can also hinder you because, when we talk about, when we got the rundown of our topics, this is something that I'm going to speak on, what is their issue? Like, what is something that like, I'm like not high on with them. That's one of the things we're relying on unreliable.
I will add to that too. The additions to the starting rotation, I think, takes so much pressure off the bullpen now. Now you're not going to Whitlock for an opener or to pitch more than one inning at a time. You're not rushing back Cutter Crawford or Houck, right? You're giving these guys chances. And now you have Holy early and totally,
yeah.
And now they're competing for that 5th spot, right? And same with Oviedo too. It's like we finally have the chance to be like, there's one spot for 3 guys, whereas in the past it felt like we had 3 openings and 1 guy, right? It's a great sigh of relief, kind of going into the season with that problem. It's a good problem to have.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
well, I mean, it's not even a problem. It's like that's the depth you need to win playoff series.
Right.
You look at the Yankees. You look at Toronto last year. You look at Seattle. When you get into playoff series, you need depth, because you can have guys in the bullpen, but then if the LDS gets stretched out to 4 or 5 games, you need someone ready to go in game 1 of the LCS right away. You have somebody ready to go, and that's exactly because think about it. If we got past the Yankees, it would have been who's starting game 1? Is Crochet starting on short rest? Probably not. You're not bringing Bayo back. Giolito was obviously probably still going to be shelled. You would have been in a tough spot, but now it's like you have that depth. That's why, Johnny, I'd push back a little bit on relying on unreliable because it's like you have the arms race where if one of those guys go down, you can step up. The pitching depth is the strength of this team. It's going to be one of the best rotations and deepest, not just in baseball, but like throughout the system. I think that's the biggest thing is, yes, it's going to be deep and great, across baseball. But I think the biggest thing to me is the depth in the system. You have early and Toby, most likely starting the year in AAA. We don't have a great lefty reliever to speak of. One of them could come up and fill that void for half of a summer and then next year start the year in the rotation. Somebody goes down, it's easy to fill. You don't have to scour the free agent market or scour the trade market early. It's like that's the strength of this team. That's how they're going to have to win games.
So maybe I jumped the gun saying unreliable.
Yeah.
Because there is, but like my thing here is there is unreliables in what we're hoping are positives.
Sure.
Marcelo Mayer, unreliable. Ranger Suarez, unreliable. But there's also the caveat here of yes, we're really excited for Roman, right? And you should be. Roman's fantastic. But another thing with Roman is you're putting a lot of pressure on a young guy to be everything. That's something that we shouldn't be relying on. We shouldn't have to rely on that. We can, and it's nice to, because he is a star in the making. But like, it kind of makes me have a little bit of like, and what's crazy because I am rather high on them, but like I also project with injuries not in my mind, because you can't
Sure. Yeah,
project with
exactly.
injuries
Right.
with trying to predict injuries, because that would
Yeah.
just be stupid. But like,
Yeah.
if all goes well, this team is a very, very good baseball team.
Yeah. And I get what you're saying about Ranger in terms of, hasn't never made 30 starts in his career, but he made 27 and 24. He made 26 last year, and in his career in the postseason, he has a 1.8 ERA. So it's like,
And listen,
if
that's great.
if one 15-day trip to the IL is what you have to withhold each season, fine by me. It's like he's a big game pitcher. He's your number two, and the
sure.
second biggest hole probably was a number two behind Crochet for the playoffs. So
And
it's
he's
that's as reliable
probably
as you can get.
and he probably would have been a Gold Glover had he been able to qualify ever for innings.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's fair too. I also like too with both Ranger and Sonny Gray too. We're bringing these guys in to not be the number one ace in our rotation, right?
For sure.
They're coming in and you're not saying, hey, do what you're doing, but just better, right? Come in, do what you're doing, and be behind Crochet and be
Yeah.
the 2-3 guy, right?
No
I
doubt.
feel a lot more comfortable there than if we didn't have Crochet and you're like, all right, Sonny Gray, you're number one, right?
Yeah.
I'd be a lot more.
And I also think that helps with Bayo, because Bayo has always been a guy who's predicated on he needs a good defense behind him. And the Sox obviously didn't have that his first 3 years in the league. They were better defensively last year. And Durbin obviously is not a sexy replacement for Bregman. He's not going to provide the offensive juice that Bregman provided, but he was a solid offensive player last year, and he was a tremendous defender. And that's the biggest thing. Obviously, he's not a Gold Glover like Bregman was in 24, but you don't fall off too much defensively there.
No doubt.
Yeah, I want to bring up something about, because you just brought up Bregman. So part of the question was the excitement level. And when we signed Bregman in February of 2025, the excitement went through the roof. I think a lot of you guys would attest to that as well. I picked him to win a division last year as soon as we signed Bregman, and then Garrett Cole went down on like the same day. So I kind of flip-flopped my prediction. I had the Red Sox in second, and then I had the Yankees in first. This year, I don't even have the Red Sox in first. We'll get to that later. But I'm going to say my excitement level is down. But I do think it's really important to point out that the Red Sox strength is their pitching depth and their pitching rotation. And that hasn't been the case in years, a very long time. I can't remember the last year that I would put the rotation as a top 3 in the league, maybe back when they had Josh Beckett, like 20, that era. They haven't had that in a long time. Even in 2018, Chris Sale, and then it was Evaldi, and then I kind of think it was Price, but he had his ups and downs as well. And you couldn't really trust him in the playoffs until 2018. You actually shied away from him until 2018. So I think this is going to be I'm not going to say a historic Red Sox pitching staff, because I think it's Crochet is an ace, and there's a really big step below to Ranger Suarez, but I think he's still a really good pitcher. But I think from 1 to 12, this staff is as good as any Red Sox staff in my lifetime. So I think that's important to point out. I don't think you can point, like, if the Red Sox brought out their 9th starter, I'd be comfortable with that. Like that right now, that's Patrick Sandoval, or maybe even better quality arm than that. The Red Sox pitching depth is insane right now.
I'm not even sure Patrick Sandoval is a real person, by the way.
That could be true, but you guys brought up about Tolley and Early. Like, these guys are more than just depth. These are guys, at least Early to me. Early is a 3 starter on some major league teams right now. I think he's that good, and he's right now our 6th guy.
So he's at great spring training too. Yeah.
But that's exactly the depth that you need to win playoff series. You need guys like that you might not start the year on the roster, are going to start the year as the 5 or start the year in the pen, whatever it may be. That's how you win playoff series. And going back to your point about the 18 rotation, I think the biggest thing about them, it's like, obviously after Sale, Price, Porcello, the names might have fallen off, obviously, with Evaldi not getting into the trade deadline. Rodriguez was in his 2nd full season. The biggest thing with them is that they all posted. They didn't miss any time. You had Velasquez and Johnson, tag teaming it for the first half of the year. and kind of piggybacking each other in those games. And then you trade for Nate and you take off. But that was the biggest thing about that team is like, yeah, you had two aces in Sale and Price, but then and I know Price was inconsistent, sure, but they all posted, and that's the biggest thing is posting every 5 days.
Yeah, I also
it's
like
a different time. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say it's also really telling that in the last week plus, we went out and got Canely and I mispronounced his name, Colombe.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Like we're still adding to that bullpen, right? We're not satisfied. We're not like saying, all right, we have the depth, like let's hands off now. We're going out there and actively grabbing more pitching. And I love that. It's a testament as to what needs to be done for this team.
Yeah.
All right. So I think what we're gonna get into is next is the World Baseball Classic recap. I just want to bring up how exciting this tournament was, how it was even better than the 2023 tournament. Do you guys agree with that? Like,
absolutely. It was the Red Sox
I
Baseball
can't say
Classic.
anything better about this tournament. I just want you guys to give your opinions. I know there's a lot of people out there talking that it should be moved to midseason. I think it's perfect. I really think it's perfect how it is. I know there's some issues with availability with players, but if you want to play and you're not older, there were some issues with insurance, obviously, but if you want to play, you should play. And at some point, if you just get enough, I think that what the issue should be, I'm going to say what I think it should be. Just make the rosters infinite, let everybody play, have 80 guys on your team. And then who cares if their guy's unavailable? If Mason Miller's not available, go to your next 14 relief pitchers that are available. That's how I would do it. I wouldn't change anything else.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
I mean,
you could talk about the United States players being passionate enough to actually want to do that and sit on the bench, because a lot of them will be sitting and not getting their innings, but they need to have that passion. So that's kind of where I wanted to lead it off with.
Absolutely. I mean, the one thing I think the craziest part about it is like and it's because of the innings restrictions and the certain, everyone was, crushing Mark DeRosa for the Mason Miller thing. He was at the mercy of the Padres at that point. Like he was only allowed to come in a safe situation. Listen, there was many things that we could have absolutely crushed Mark DeRosa for during the entire tournament. But that's one thing I think that needs to be said and needs to kind of give him a little grace on, because the pitching side of it was completely at the mercy of the clubs in which they were all playing for. So, but like when you were talking about it going to the mid-season, the only one that I actually looked at and kind of enjoyed when I saw the pitch for that was Jason Starks. I don't know if anyone saw Jason or anyone reads anything from Jason Starks. All right. So Jason Starks' whole thing is do pool play during the off season. Do it right before spring training.
Or just keep it the same time frame. Yeah, like you could keep it the same.
Or keep it this, or you could do everything the same. But one of his breakdowns was do the pool play during during the time that it is right now, how it is right here. Then at the All-Star break, give them an extended All-Star break, but do the quarterfinals during the All-Star break rather than it be don't do the whole tournament during the All-Star break, because that would just be a travesty. Plus, these guys do love their time off during the All-Star break. So you kind of want to honor that as well.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, a lot of these guys who do it also don't really care for spring training too. So that's why spring training was kind of is the perfect time for it, because a lot of them are completely okay with not going to spring training.
I think you have to keep it as a preseason tournament. In the finals, everything preseason tournament. No, I saw the same thing you're talking about too with the pool play preseason. Yeah. You have to keep this preseason. We just watched World Series atmosphere baseball, and it's mid-March, and now we have another week until the opening day. I was telling my wife this earlier. It honestly feels like that week leading up to the Super Bowl, where you're like, okay, this is gonna be really sweet. Yeah. To us baseball fans, that's the start of the season. We just watched awesome tournament, wait the week, and now we're gonna see baseball, meaningful baseball again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only fix, and this is obviously something they're going to take in the next CBA, would be the Olympics. That's going to be the only way that you get it in the summer is guys playing for Olympic gold. And this is a Team USA problem, not a WBC or any other team problem. Like the care level for I'm not calling out any individual guys. Just overall on Team USA, the care level is down from the rest of the countries, and it's like those guys that care, and it's like our guys seem to be the only guys that have an issue with it. It's like, did other teams probably call managers of Venezuela, the DR, whatever, and say don't use guys? Sure, but those guys were probably like, screw it, I'm gonna go out there and pitch for my country. It's like that's the evolution is of the next taking the next step of the tournament is getting that buy-in from guys on Team USA, like the schools of the world who are only going to make one start, but still show up in a hoodie and baseball pants in the dugout. It's like that's to take it to the next level for guys on Team USA. Because I know Harper talked about the Olympics, Schugle talked about it, but it's everyone else cares. So it's like you're going to have to adapt. It's not like it's going to be made adaptable to what you want and catered to you.
And I saw that Danny Palencia was also only supposed to come in a safe situation.
Yeah, he didn't care.
and it's fun. No, and it's funny that you say that because I saw a guy on Twitter say Palencia was on an innings was on the same thing that Mason Miller was. I was like, yeah, but no matter what, Palencia was coming in that game at some point.
Yeah, he didn't care.
He did not. The dude was crying right before he struck out Roman Anthony.
Yeah, it was absolute nails. Like the dude,
he truly was ready to run through a fucking wall. Sorry for this. Yeah. You know what I mean? He was ready to run through a wall for Venezuela.
Yeah, I mean, you had Julio Rodriguez saying he'd rather win a WBC than win a World Series. It's like that's the mindset and attitude that most of those teams had.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's just because Seattle just doesn't go to World Series. So he has no idea what that's like.
Yeah. How about Acuna, man? Acuna saying like Venezuela's like I'm playing for Venezuela. Like Atlanta's cool, but Venezuela is like so much cooler. Like,
and with Acuna, like, dude, you're coming off like bad knee issues and you're running all over the place. Like if I'm Atlanta, I'm like, brother, you're not stealing a bag. Like, what are you talking about? And he's stealing. He had zero cares. But you know what? You got the best Ronald Acuna possible during this. We saw the best, the players that we are so excited to watch, guys like Fernando Tatis, guys like Ronald Acuna. You got the absolute best out of every one of them. Masataka Yoshida was hitting homers. Like he's putting the ball in the air. He's hitting it over second base for the first time in his life. We're like, that's the type of stuff and the energy that we're getting out of this. Like, that's not talked about enough. But
look at Team Italy.
Yep.
Yeah. And granted, those are a bunch of guys who were cast off by Team USA.
They're all New Jersey. They're all New Jersey. They're all New Jersey.
Yeah, but it's like, look at them, the espresso machine in the dugout, the jacket. It's like, those guys showed awesome passion. So
Pasquantino became like a household name, dude.
No one had more fun than Pasquantino, dude. He was so much fun to watch.
Yeah. He was great, dude. And he didn't even do that well, to be honest. Like, if you looked at, dude, at one point I saw he was batting like 190. And I'm like, everyone makes it like this dude's like batting like 400. Like, and
he only had one good game.
Dante Nori was the best player on Italy by far. And
when you have a team full of big leaguers, you can win any game at any time. It doesn't matter. And if you look at that Venezuela roster, they're a bunch of very good big leaguers. People were talking about it as an upset. It's not a big upset,
No, they were the second best team in the tournament for the whole thing.
I kind of agree. Yeah, I think they had the second best roster. Erod came back to life. We can all talk about that. He had like a 6.8 ERA last year and the year before that, and he just shoved whatever.
Well, that's because he just didn't care. Remember that whole thing where he was just like, "Yeah, I'm good. I'm not going to come back." And was that when he was Detroit?
Yeah.
Then he just decided to just walk. Yeah, he was just
post COVID. Yeah,
he was like, "Nah, I'm good." They were like, "You're contracted."
Yeah, I think he was going through like personal issues and whatnot, and he just decided to focus on that, and then he ultimately came back eventually. But
Anthony Rendon was going through personal issues too.
Sure.
Well, at least Erod showed up when it mattered. He kind of went out there and he pitched the game of his life. His stuff ticked up. I was at the game and I was sitting right behind home plate up in the Vista level, so that's like the third deck as high as possible. But I was right behind home plate, like directly behind. Awesome. His stuff looked nasty, and when you're right behind home plate, even as high up, you can see the corners, so you could see it. He was just painting. He was gross. The little cutter. I was impressed. I wouldn't have taken him out. I thought as soon as they took him out, it was USA's game. I really did. And it didn't happen. So I'm just grateful to be there. I thought it was an awesome game. If
Yeah,
Harper
that's a
didn't
cool
hit the
experience.
home run, I was sitting there. I've been to the last two, and I was sitting there. I was with my friend. We were talking, and I'm just like, this game kind of sucks. Like we're gonna just get shut out by Venezuela, and it's 85% Venezuelans there, so they're all gonna be happy, and they're just gonna walk out of there while they're partying, and like, good for them, but it would have been nice to win. And then Harper hits that home run, and it's the loudest stadium I've ever heard in my life. I've been to NFC championship games, I've been to playoff games, I've been to all these sporting events, and that was the loudest stadium pop I've ever experienced in my life. Part of the reason why I lost my voice was because of that home run. And that home run made it worth it, even with the loss, even with Whitlock blowing it. It made it worth it. We saw the Willier home run. It was so cool.
Yeah.
If
It
anyone
was nice to
has
see
the
Bryce show up.
opportunity, if anyone has the opportunity to get to a World Baseball Classic final or a semifinal in Miami, do it. No matter what team you're a fan of, what country you represent, it is one of the coolest experiences ever. Even if you're not a baseball fan and you're just like part of that country, like a lot of those Venezuelan fans weren't baseball fans. They're just there to represent their country, and they were having the best time of their life. Like
It's awesome.
it was.
I remember seeing a
so-
video in the concourse, and someone had the Shohei Ohtani Japanese jersey, and they were waving the Venezuelan flag, and I'm like, that is just so cool. Like that's what it's about,
Yeah.
you know.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's baseball. That's it.
Yeah.
No doubt. No doubt.
Yeah.
I think you're muted there, Nick.
I just kept getting muted and unmuted. I kept clicking it too much. My bad. So
You're good. You're good.
we'll hop into the next topic. We're just going to get into more Red Sox stuff now. We'll get into more Red Sox Central things. So we're going to go with our final record prediction. I'll start off with mine. I'll give my record prediction where I think they finish in the division. You don't have to say if they make the playoffs. Obviously, if they finish first for you guys, they're going to make the playoffs. But we'll get to the playoffs after that. I wanted just to say what you think they're going to finish in the division and their record. So I'm going to say they have 86 wins, which I think is going to be a ballpark for everybody here. And I think they finished third in the division. I'm going to kick it off to James next. You can give more. I'm just going to let you guys talk on this one, though.
Sure. So I think they're going to win 87 games. I think they're going to, the pitching's going to be good enough to win them ball games, and the offense will do enough. I think they'll finish fourth in the division, and I think they'll make the playoffs. I think the AL East, and for the first time in the 16 wildcard era, a division is going to have four teams make the playoffs. So I think they get all three wildcard spots, obviously plus the division winner. But Baltimore has significantly improved. The Yankees and the Blue Jays are both great as well. So I think it's going to be a competitive division. They win 87 games and finish fourth, but take the last wildcard spot.
All right, I guess I'm going to be the optimist here. I think they're going to be 91 and 71. I think they are the pitching. The pitching's good enough.
Yeah.
I think the pitching is more than good enough to be able to do that. Again, I don't predict on injuries. I don't predict on anything like that. I think with a full team, you have Wilyer Abreu, who looks like he's in the absolute best shape of his life. You have Roman Anthony, who is coming off such an electric WBC and even coming off an electric first part of his career last year before injuries. You're hoping for a good Marcelo Mayer, so we're able to have a nice platoon over at second base. Again, you're hoping for Trevor Story. I'm going to be optimistic, and I think we're going to get all that. I think we're going to get a very good team. And going back to the offense, Wilson Contreras is a lot better than he is getting credit for. A lot better. He has last year was very similar to Alex Bregman. Like he gives you good defense at first base, plus he has the power. Now he's going to a place where he has an opportunity to hit 30 homers because he's a pool guy. He is playing at a rather shorter distance now in left field than he was when he was playing with St. Louis. I think this is a very, very good baseball team, and I find them at 91 and 71, finishing second and being the first wild card.
So I appreciate the optimism, and I need that more in my life with the Red Sox. But James, I actually agreed 87 wins. I have it in my notes right here. 87 wins, 75 losses. And I said either third or fourth, depending on how the Blue Jays play out with all their injuries to start the season. Obviously, other factors go in there too, but right in that third or fourth spot there.
Sure. And look, my prediction, if they finish third instead of fourth, fine. I think they're going to win 87 games and get one of the last 2 wild card spots, whether it's them or Baltimore, flip flopping, however they go head to head. Similar deal, Will.
I'm in the same boat. And then Johnny, we can't predict injuries like we were saying. I just think that this team more so than any other team I can remember in recent history has such an injury history, like a long list of injury history, and such a high risk of injury amongst. How is Roman 21 and you're like straining your oblique? Obviously, a lot of power, a lot of muscle, but 21-year-olds shouldn't be straining their oblique. That worries me as a fan. We can get into it later, but there are a lot of different pieces other than the obvious. Oh, can Mayer stay healthy? Can Williard stay healthy? That I think will bring this team below that 90 win threshold.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the biggest key is Meyer because he's going to play a good defensive second base, but he's never played over 91 games in a season in his professional career. But offensively, will he be allowed to face lefties? And if he is, how often? How many times a week?
No.
Obviously, they did the same thing with Willier and Duran. They didn't face lefties as much at the beginning. Slowly they got, then it was a platoon, and now they're going full time against them. So in order to get better and hit against them, you're going to have to face them. He can't just sit against every lefty. That's going to be part of the maturation process. He didn't really get to face a bunch of them in AAA. That was, another thing as well. And when he did, he raked against them in AAA, but most good lefties are either in AA because they're too young or they're in the league. There's not, many effective lefties, down at Worcester, in AAA, whatever it may be. But I think that that's ultimately going to be the piece that they depend on the most, because if he can stay healthy, you have Durbin at third, you have your infield defense set, and then you probably have your 7 or 8 hitter at the bottom of the order, really setting the table for the top. And it's a piece that you can rely on. You don't have to go into your depth with Monasterio, IKF. Obviously, Romy is hurt, so that dings it. But Roman being Roman is super important. Story posting, playing 145 plus games again is going to be huge. Duran hitting lefties and, being a power bat that they need. Yes, obviously all of those. But in terms of the importance and the reliance for the team, it's going to be Meyer, because the drop off after that, I think, from a healthy peak Meyer to a peak Monasterio or peak IKF is probably the biggest drop off in terms of disparity when you're replacing one guy on the roster to the other. Position player wise.
Absolutely. And
so, if you want to add something, Johnny?
Nah, I'm good. All
right. So
actually, you know what? Yeah, 1 second. 1 second. It's funny because in the beginning of this, I said that they're that relying on unreliable, and obviously,
Meyer.
I got James hit me with something like, I'm going to push back on that, but then Will just kind of just sat there and talked about how unreliable they are.
We were talking about pitching earlier. I'm
talking in general.
I thought you meant. I was just talking Ranger. I was purely talking Ranger.
I mean, Ranger's the only one that's unreliable. But as far as that's concerned, but the whole team is that's the relying on unreliable is kind of the essence of this entire team right now. But again, I'm being optimistic because if these guys are reliable, if we can rely on them this year, and they are healthy, this team can win 91 games. That's just my little spiel.
Yeah,
you're good.
So we are within 5 wins each or total. Yeah. So I'm the low guy at 86. Johnny's the high guy at 91, and I think that's very, very telling on what this team's going to be. I don't think their floor is anything below an 80 win team. I think even if everything goes bad, they're about 500. If everything goes well, I think Johnny's probably right, 91, 92, 93. I don't see them as a 100-win ceiling. I don't think they have the talent to do that. But I don't think this team is going to be awful no matter what happens. So I think we're in for an interesting Red Sox season no matter what. I think they'll be in contention. I think there's a chance they do miss the playoffs. I do think there's a chance they could be a division winner depending on what else these teams do. But I'm very comfortable, and I think we all are comfortable putting them near the wild card spot or right on the cusp of being a wild card team.
Yeah,
I don't think they're going to be a bad 100%. Team. So
no, the ceiling is competing for the division. Obviously, if the offense clicks early, because you look historically at the month of April, it's obviously cold pretty much everywhere. And that's when the arms kind of get up to speed. And good pitching always lasts through the month of April. And I think that's where if the offense can get their feet under them early, and also they're going to have to take advantage of their schedule the first couple months of the year. Not as many divisional games, play some weaker opponents, and obviously with the balanced schedule, everyone plays everyone and essentially plays the same schedule outside of the division. They're going to have to take advantage of that early. Because then you get into tougher opponents in the league. You get into a lot of divisional games beginning in June. They're going to have to take advantage of the schedule the first couple months before things get tough. But it's like if they can do well there, the ceiling can be competing for the division. But you gotta get the Red Sox. I feel like historically when they get off to good starts, things bode well in terms of making the playoffs. Obviously, last year they were 500 until July 1st, and then just kind of rode that 10-game winning streak. So a little bit of an outlier there. But it's like get off to a decent start. You never know what can happen.
I have my ceiling for them at like 95 wins. Like if everything clicks right, we have the talent to, I'm not saying win 100 games, but push that, that mid 90s win range and win the division too. But a lot of ifs there in terms of everything going right.
Yeah, well, it's got to go right.
Yeah.
So I think we'll get more into more player predictions here. I want to start it off just with an easy one. Who do you think the home run leader is? And give me a number. I know that's hard to pick an exact number, but there's a chance we all have the same guy. But I'm going to start with mine. Actually, I'll go last. Let's start with James here. Let you go first. Who you think hits the most home runs, and give me a number for it.
All right. So obviously I think there's been a lot of talk about right now I think Fangraphs has the highest guy projected at 18 home runs. Nobody hitting 20. I do think we will get at least one 20 home run hitter, maybe 2 or 3. But I think Roman Anthony leads the team.
Question.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask that next. How many guys do you think hit 20?
3.
So
I'll go with 3. I'll go with 3.
If you want to just add that in, we could do that because
sure.
Yeah.
I'll
give mine
go with
at the end then.
I'll go with 3 guys hit over 20 home runs. I say Roman leads the team with 22 in his age 22 season.
Okay. I'm going with 3 as well. I'm going with three guys will have 20. Again, maybe I'm a little bit higher on some things. But knowing that this guy is going to be getting a full run, I'm going to go with Wilyer Abreu. I think Wilyer Abreu I think he hits 27. I think he flirts with that. He is going to be getting a full run. He's not going to be platooned anymore. It seems like Cora has taken the training wheels off.
Oh yeah, big time.
He's completely committed to having him be, the full-time right fielder, which is crazy that we even have to talk about this considering he's a back-to-back Gold Glove winner out there. But like now it's go time, and he again looks in the best shape of his life. What he just did in the WBC, especially in that championship game with that homer, like that was a big boy homer that he hit. Like, yep. I just imagine that all summer long, and I truly believe he is going to be the team leader in homers with 27.
No, that's fair. I think for 20 home runs, we're going to have 4 hitters hit 20. And my extra guy there is Jarren Duran. I know that's kind of a crazy name to throw in the pocket there. His reworked swing this spring, I think it's that separated hands and like the shorter stride and everything. I love everything I'm seeing from that. That homer off a Sale earlier in the spring, just gave me goosebumps. Off a lefty too. We need that all season. He's not going to hit 25. He's not going to hit 30, but Duran's going to be in that 20 home run club comfortably. I think Trevor Story is also in the running there. He hit 25 last year. That was probably the healthiest we've seen Story on our team in terms of both hitting and fielding, and just a well-rounded ball player. Leading the team in homers for me, obviously Wilyer Abreu. I think he hits 30 plus, low 30s, 31, 32. He had, was it 13 or 14 by the end of May last year before he got injured? It's that's a pace that would lead, most teams in most divisions, right? Like that's some crazy stuff. He's in the best shape of his life. We talked about the World Baseball Classic. He was mashing the World Baseball Classic, and it's so great to see he lost all the weight. I think that starting in the World Baseball Classic too, before the season, you're seeing real pitching, you're seeing real competition, not some spring training crap. He's going to hit the season running and just kind of go off with it. Of course, if he can stay healthy. If not, I think I have Wilson Contreras leading the Sox with homers. I think, Johnny, you mentioned it too. He's a big pull hitter. Now he's playing at the number 1, stadium for right-handed pull hitters in Major League Baseball. And now He has not hit 25 homers in one season in his career. I think we're going to see well over that this year. I don't think he hits 30, but 27, 28 from Contreras is not out of the question.
Very, very fair.
Yeah. So, Will, I'm exactly with you. I have 4, and I also have Jaron Duran, and I have Willie Abreu at 31. So I have Willie Abreu, Wilson Contreras, I have Jaron Duran, and Roman Anthony as my 4. I don't have Trevor Story. I don't want to anticipate an injury. I just don't anticipating having that season again. And
Sure.
I kind of, I just don't have them in the 4. And I think it's wild that I have them as the lowest win total, but I have 4 above 20. I think Roman's going to be 25 to 30 in the upper end of that that number. I think Wilson Contreras will be 20 to 25. I don't think I understand what you guys are saying with the pull air percentage and him coming to Fenway Park. He's just another year older. He's never hit more than 24 home runs. He's played he's moved from catcher to first base, which I thought his power was going to go way up from that, and it hasn't. So I just don't. I think he'll have a great season. I don't think he'll have that 30-plus home run power that some people are predicting. But with Will said about Jaron, I think him playing more games at DH this season is going to improve him a lot at the plate. I expect him to steal 40-plus bags as well, hopefully. And I expect a lot of improvement from his offense last season. I think he'll get back to that 780 to 800 OPS, hopefully, and the stolen bases will tick back up and the power will tick into the 20 to 21, 22 range.
No doubt.
Yeah, I want to add on Duran. I do think he's going to be a 20 homer guy. He's my second. I really think he's going to have a monster season. I think he has a chip on his shoulder, wants to prove that he's closer to the guy he was in 24 than the guy he was in 25. And, a lot of that was predicated on luck. Probably got luckier than he should have in 24 and was definitely unluckier than he should have been last season. But I think he's really reworked his swing. He's really focused on his craft for hitting lefties, and you can see that power surge coming. So I'm very excited for a full season of Jaron this year.
Next one I got here is which player leads the team in F-WAR? I like Fangraphs WAR better, but if you guys like Baseball Reference, you can go ahead and use that. Whatever. Which player leads the team in WAR? I think this is going to be a 3-person race. It could only be a 2-person race if you really think about it. But I'll let you guys go ahead. Whoever wants to go first. Johnny, you want to go first this time?
I'll go first. I went with Garrett Crochet. I think Garrett Crochet has a 6.7-ish, any in that range, 6.7 to a 7. I think I also believe he's going to be the Cy Young winner this year. I did it on my own show. I had him. That was my prediction for the Cy Young. Last year, I mean, a great way to go to predict, following seasons and, and how players are looking is going by XFIP and going by Syria. You look at them two, he was right up top. Him and Tarek Skubal were switching back and forth between them two. He's legitimately the best pitcher that's not Tarek Skubal right now. And I think it's extremely difficult to be able to get 3 straight Cy Youngs. He would be in a very, very, I think he'd be is he the only one that would do that? Or is that the one that has, I believe that he would be the only person to win 3 in a row.
RJ won 4 in a row.
Randy Johnson did. And Greg Maddux also did, I believe.
Yeah.
So he would be in a very, very historic group.
Rarefied air.
Not saying that he can't, but there's a lot that's going on with Skubal this year. He's got the contract weighing in his head. We now have a possible work stoppage that also could hurt him. So yes, I do believe Garrett Crochet breaks that ceiling and breaks that streak that's going. He becomes the Cy Young winner for the first time in his career, and we get a 6.7 to 6.9-ish F-WAR to lead the team.
I agree with you fully. That's who I have in my notes here. I think we're going to see another dominant year from Crochet. Obviously, I sound like a broken record, health depending, and we can knock on wood. Crochet, it seemed like he was only getting better as the season went on last year. Yeah. And spring training, everything points to him being the same kind of guy that we had before. I also have him in that mid-6 kind of F-WAR range for the season too. I just don't see any reason why he wouldn't be the clear winner here for the team.
So I think Crochet is going to win the Cy Young. I know we're not doing an awards prediction right now per se. He's going to win. Going back to your point, Johnny, It's very hard to win 3 Cy Youngs in a row. Skubal is obviously a dog. But it's very hard to do that. It's hard to continue to post and post and post. Not saying he's going to miss time, but I think Crochet, he really broke out on the scene last year, and I think he's ready to take that next step, elevate his game, and win the Cy Young. Last year got 200 innings for the first time in his career, struck out over 250 batters. Had a 5.8 WAR, F WAR last year. I think he's going to have a WAR over 6 this year. But not that I'm going out on a limb. I'm just going to differentiate. I'm going to go with Roman. Had a 3.1 in terms of B WAR last year. F WAR was 2.7, just 71 games. I think a fully healthy season of Anthony, that you get him in the field and DHing at the time. And he was honestly one of the better right fielders in baseball last year in terms of the metrics when he was out there. So I think a full season of that will only help him. Playing left field and playing the monster will benefit him greatly as well. I think Crochet and Anthony will be neck and neck. Maybe they'll be tied at 6.3 or whatever. But for the sake of variety and really believing in Roman to take that next jump, I'm going to go with Roman. Nothing against Crochet, obviously. He's my pick to win the Cy Young. I think he's going to establish. I think everyone agrees he's a top 3 pitcher in the game. He's really going to solidify himself this year as he's not just a top 3 guy in the game. He's like, when you talk about guys you want to start your franchise with, arms. It's him, Skeens, and Skubal, and then the next level. So I'm excited for what Crochet is going to do this year, but I'm rolling with Roman.
I also think that to the whole Crochet point too, that I forgot to mention real quick too, adding these arms that we've already talked about takes that pressure off of him too. He can just go out there and dominate. You're not being worried about going to Walker Buehler number 2 or
exactly. And it's like obviously. The epitome of a workhorse is 200 innings, but maybe if he pitches, 188 instead of 205, because, the bullpen's a little bit deeper, the rotation's a little bit deeper. You don't have to rely on him to go 7 innings every night because that's going to be the one night you rest the bullpen. You have other guys that go deep. He can stay fresher and he can be not that he wasn't effective last year, but it just adds to the effectiveness. It doesn't have to be 200. It can be 196. You can save him 2 innings, in his 4th start in April. You can, or in a start in May, you can pull him at 5 1/3 and 89 pitches instead of having him go through the 6th when you're up 6-1. It's that all that stuff adds into it. So that's a great point. But yeah, I'm going with Roman to lead the team. I just think he's very underrated defensively in terms of what he does. Not that he's super flashy, but he was a lot better defensively than I think people gave him credit for last year. Fully healthy, last year only 71 games and had a 2.7 F4. I think 150 plus games of that, and the offensive prowess, the on base percentage is through the roof. I think you're going to be looking at maybe similar to a Soto type 22-year-old season, leading the team in F4.
That's wild because I don't even have him as my number 2.
Fair enough.
I don't either, but
I have Wilyer too, just because of his defense, just because of how elite the defense is.
But this also goes to the point of obviously without adding the true impact bat, if they're really going to reach their ceiling and get to where we think they're going to get to, they're going to need Anthony to be Anthony. And
absolutely.
And we saw that in the WBC. So it's like if they're going to need Anthony to be that guy, that's part of the reasoning why I'm going with it too, is because if you don't get that version of Anthony, well, you're probably not reaching the heights that you need to reach to make the playoffs, or to be a playoff contender. That's the other part of it.
Absolutely, I'm with you.
I'm also on the train with Garrett Crochet here. I think he's a lock to put up a 6 to 7 WAR, F4. If he's not, then the Red Sox aren't going to go anywhere. But I think he will. I agree with you guys. He's going to finish in the top 3 in Cy Young, no matter what happens. He's that good of a pitcher. With Anthony, I think he's going to go somewhere north of 4, and I think the ceiling's as high as, like you said, Juan Soto. Maybe slightly below that. I don't know if he's a Juan Soto.
That's certainly what the team thinks he is, and it's like
I think he's that type of superstar. I think he's Christian Yelich prime. That's what I think he is. When Christian Yelich is winning MVPs, that's where I have him in his future. Yeah. But I could also see him putting up a 3.5 to 4 F4, and he's not that kind of guy. But when you brought up Wilyer Abreu, I think he will finish second in the team. If I think he's going to hit 31 home runs, he's going to play 140 plus games, and he's going to be second in the team in F4.
I mean, he'd have to have at that point. He'd have to have like a 130 WRC plus too. Like it would just be we're in that range.
I will bring up a comment from YouTube that says Rafaela will lead the team in F4. He could just go out there and put up 3 to 4 WAR defensively, and then maybe get the 5, 6 in his career. I don't see it this year, but I could see it down the line. He can get the 6 WAR. I really do.
I actually have Rafael as my backup option for F4 leaders here.
Yeah, I think the
I mean,
defense is so good. It's just going to be so
Yeah.
high. I mean, I think his floor, even if
And-
he's just 75, 80 WRC plus bat, like it's going to be a 2 or.
Dude, I mean, last year it was
Where the power
91.
was.
Last year it was 91, and he's got, and every projection you see has him around 98 WRC
Pushing
plus. If he
100.
can find,
He's pushing
if
100.
he, that's what I'm
Yes.
saying. If he can,
Yeah.
if he can get himself to like a 105 with the elite center field defense, he's a 5-WAR player. Like,
Yeah.
and I don't think that's like a crazy take if
Which
like
is
for
cool.
that to happen.
With him being as
And he's
clutch
probably
as he
platinum
is,
glove winner.
it's even better than that. Like it's a 5 WAR, but in your mind, he's a 7-8 WAR guy because he hits these home runs
Yeah.
in the clutch. He had what do you have? 3 walk-offs last year, 2 walk-off home runs, and
Always in yellow, and they were always in the green
triple.
jerseys.
Yeah, he was unreal. He's been
Consistently
clutch his
on
whole
Fridays.
career. There's no one I want up more than him when there's a runner on second base. That's not true, but he's one of the top like 3 or 4. But Rafael is in this conversation. I don't think he's going to lead the team, no, but he's in the conversation, and a lot of people will underrate him.
I will say too, he's also one of the guys who has had an amazing spring train so far too. Even tonight too, that we're recording this, he worked a 10, 11 pitch like clutch at bat too to score 2 runs. That was unbelievable. I mean, if he was striking out and his usual self, I'd kind of be there in terms of we know what we have, but now it's like did he unlock something?
And what a start for Bayo not to be televised.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Don't even get me started. Every spring training game has to be televised, please.
Again, like this is his third. If you count the WBC, this is his third straight very good start. Like having him as a 4 is a force, dude. Like if he can just relax, not have to feel like that pressure, exactly the pressure we're talking about with Garrett Crochet. If he does not have that pressure to be the number 2 now. He can just sit back, be the 4, kind of just do what his thing. The best thing I feel like about Bayo that doesn't get talked about a lot is that he puts so much effort into it though. He really does try to learn. He loves being like Pedro when he has Pedro next to him, that's telling. When Pedro actually wants to give you advice, that's telling.
Yeah.
Like he listens to him. I mean, like the fact that he was always labeled as little Pedro, like early coming up, like people wanted him to be that. Like that's a total.
Pedro put too much pressure on him by
that's what I'm saying. You put that title on somebody, like put any Hall of Fame or any great pitcher for an organization. You put that pressure on somebody, that's like you can't win. You can't win unless you are that guy, and he's just not. But he's good for what this team is going to have him as, and I'm very, very excited about that.
Absolutely.
Let's move on to the next one, guys. We're getting up there in time. We're at 50-ish minutes, but let's finish. I got a couple more interesting ones here. The next one I want to go to is how many total inside the park home runs do you think the Red Sox are going to have this season? Last year they had 2, one for Willie Abreu and one for Jarren Duran. I think with Fenway Park and this team the Red Sox have put together, there's a lot of opportunity to see some really exciting moments at Fenway Park. I'm going to go out on a limb and say there's going to be 5. I don't know off the top of my head, and I haven't even looked it up, like a record for most inside the park home runs for a team. But I'm going to go with 5. I think there's potential for Jarren Duran to hit 2. I think there's potential for a Rafael to hit 1. I think there's potential for a guy like Braden Ward to come up late in the year and hit 1. I think there's a lot of potential for Nate Eaton to hit 1. I think there's a lot of guys on this team that it could just happen, and you never know. I think that's my hot take at the moment. That's what I wanted to put out there. I think it's a fun thing to ask.
It definitely is. I'm right there. I have 4 inside the park homers this year. The usual suspects. I think Duran's going to hit at least 1. Caleb Durbin. I know that he's not known for his speed. I think Baseball Savant has him in like the 60 speed area. He just strikes me as the kind of guy where it's like if the opportunity presents himself and he hits a triple and like the ball, something happens or like the opportunity's there, he's kind of guy that will push home and go for that. Joe Casey even tonight gave him the label as dirt dog. Like this is like his latest dirt dog. Pedroia, Trot Nixon. It's like that's the kind of mentality that will lead to in the park homers. I think Caleb Durbin's going to do it.
I'll go with one. It's I know Fenway. I know Fenway as is funky. I know it's a unique setup, but you still don't see it happen that often. So I'm going to go with one. I do have a home run hot take this year. I think the Red Sox will at some point this year go back to back. They'll have 3 consecutive home runs at some point throughout the year. So that that in terms of, I think they'll hit one inside the park homer. Whether it's Duran. I know Willier had that weird one where it bounced off the pen and rolled sideways. I think Durbin is an interesting take. Myers got sneaky speed if he can push one to the triangle. You never know when it bounces around out there. But I think they get one. But I think they hit 3 consecutive homers at some point this year.
Do you have three batters you think are going to hit the 3 homers?
No, if I want to go out on a limb, I'll say Anthony Story Duran to lead off a game, but no, just at some point 3 3 in a row at some point this season.
Apparently, Kauffman Stadium has seen 100 inside the park home runs.
That's crazy.
Whit Merrifield hit the 100th in 2021, something like that. I think I just saw. Yeah, but either way, I have one, and I think it's going to be Willier Abreu again. I just think it's the year of Abreu. I'm sure you're seeing the pattern here that I just keep adding him in here somewhere. I just believe that he's like it's going to be him. Like if it's anybody, it's him. But I think it's one. They 2 years ago, the last year I know they had 3. 2024 they didn't have any. So I mean, I'm just gonna kind of split here and just say one.
All right, fair. I mean, it's a really fun question. It's
great.
It's just a shot in the dark. I mean, I think with Jaron Duran, we're guaranteed one. Honestly, I think just he's the type of player that if he doesn't hit one, I'd be surprised. And then I'm just banking on the rest of these guys to hit one into the corner, and it's going to happen. So you never know. I kind of want to move on back to the pitching staff, which is the strength of this team. I think this is another fun question. How many Red Sox pitchers received Cy Young votes this season? Last year there was 2, Garrett Crochet and Roldis Chapman. I'd like to see where you guys lead on that. I'm going to go with 3. I'm going to go Garrett Crochet. I'm going to go with Sonny Gray, and I'm going to give Roldis Chapman a late back down ballot vote. I think he'll be good. Again, not as good as last year. Obviously, that's almost impossible. But I think he'll be good enough to get one of those last votes on the Cy Young ballot.
Yeah, I mean, I also have 2. I have 2. You have 3, but I have the same. I have 2 of the same. I have Garrett Crochet and I have Sonny Gray. I don't think people realize just how good Sonny Gray is. He's another one. They don't realize how good he is. Over the last 3 years, he's in the top 10 in F4. And last year, the Red Sox currently they didn't have them last year, but they all 3 guys. If you do 150 innings as the minimum, this is a way to fit my narrative here. If you have 150 innings minimum, 3 guys finished in the top 20 in Syria and XFIP, and that was Garrett Crochet, Sonny Gray, and Ranger Suarez. 2 of them finished in the top 7 in both categories, and that was Garrett Crochet and Sonny Gray. Sonny Gray is this is the perfect team for what he does. The defense around him, the way that they've built this defense, I truly think he's going to have a very good year this year. Plus, I think there's a little bit of animosity against the Yankees that I think is also going to kind of fuel his fire a little bit. And I love that. And I do. I think Sonny Gray's going to have a great year with the Red Sox. He's not going to have as good a year as Garrett Crochet, but I think he's going to have a very good year.
I'm going to go with 3. The same 2 guys as last year, Crochet and Chapman, and I'm also going to go with Ranger Suarez. I think he really continues to build on what he's done in Philly the last few years and really continues to excel. Steps up as the number 2, and usually the number 2 behind the Cy Young favorite or Cy Young, one of the Cy Young frontrunners, usually does a pretty good job in garnering down ballot votes. And I think Suarez is going to do just that this season. I think he's going to have a really strong first season in Boston. And it's not just going to be a throwaway, 9th place vote. I think he's going to get more than a vote. But I think, those 3 guys will each garner votes this season.
That's interesting. Yeah. So I have Crochet too. I don't think Chapman will get another one. I think there's just no way he replicates the dominance that he was last year. I have Garrett Whitlock as my take for a Cy Young vote. He was absolute nails at the second half of last year. He had his, I think, second best whip of his career last year overall, not just the second half. He posted a sub, I actually had the number here, a 0.34 ERA in like 27 innings in the second half. Now that we have a dedicated starting rotation and depth there, we're never going to be asking him to be like, hey, go out there and throw us 2 innings or more than 1 inning, right? He's a 1 inning type of guy. I see him kind of not having the same kind of year, but close to a Chris Martin when he got that one Cy Young vote a couple of years ago. I see the same kind of deal with Whitlock, right? I don't think he's going to win it, but 1 or 2 votes here or there, he's going to be absolutely nails this year.
One of the cool things that Fangraphs does is they do ERA minus FIP.
Yeah.
And it's a good gauge of seeing how unlucky somebody really was. I believe Sonny Gray finished like 5th or 4th in that with a 0.89 discrepancy between his ERA and his FIP.
Yeah.
And it was like 4 something, but his FIP was like 3.5. I think if you get around that, like that's a very, very good 2 for the Red Sox behind Garrett Crochet. And that's kind of what I'm looking at and looking for. I'm also a very big Sonny Gray fan, always have been, except for the Yankee years. But I've wanted Garrett Crochet on Sonny Gray on the Red Sox for years. And now I finally have it. So no one's going to put me down on this, and I think he's going to have a great year.
So let's go back with 2. I got 2 more. I want to lead.
Man, you keep adding one. Come on, now
You get 3.
I got all night.
The rabbit just keeps pulling him out of the hat, right?
Yeah. So I want to finish off at the end with one big hot take. We'll end with that. So, but I want to go with which Red Sox prospect that hasn't made their major league debut. So Conley Early, Peyton Tolley, those guys are out of it. Marcel Meyer is no longer a prospect, but a guy who hasn't made their major league debut is going to make the biggest impact on this 2026 Red Sox season. I'll give mine last, but if you guys want to go ahead, we'll give Will this first dibs this time.
Yeah, I think 2 names come to mind. I'll give you 1 pitcher and then 1 hitter. Jake Bennett is really, he's really caught my attention this spring. Left-handed pitcher, would add some depth, also kind of back end starting rotation if we need it. A lot of his career thus far has been played by injuries. He's finally had a full offseason healthy with the pitching development team with the Red Sox. I think we're going to be seeing great things from him. He's also going to be a great candidate to kind of like if he doesn't make his major league debut this year, I'm not going to cry about it. I think that he's going to benefit from being in the minors longer and getting more innings and getting more reps. But again, great left-handed pitcher, great left-handed pitching option here in the farm system. I think that is going to be like a late season call up for sure. The 1 hitter too, Mikey Romero, man, I don't think I can find a bigger fan of Mikey Romero than myself. I see Johnny over there too. I love Mikey Romero when we drafted him, injury galore, which I know it's been a big topic of this episode, but if he can stay healthy, man, I love his versatility. I like his creepy power too. It's just that bat to ball skill that I think he has to work on a little bit, but I can see him coming up in a big role if we need him for a utility kind of role.
Yeah, I got 2 names as well. Jake Bennett, obviously, we don't have really any lefties right now. So if he can come up in the summer and be that back end, not necessarily back end, be a guy in the bullpen that you can go to as a lefty, far and away, I think, when you look at the list in the system, guys who haven't made their debut yet, sure. Here's the second name for you, and this would be a fast ascent, Kyson Witherspoon. Drafted last summer, has a lot of pedigree, was tremendous at Oklahoma. Think he can be a fast riser through the system. And if they need, if they need somebody, a flamethrower out of the back end of the bullpen for an inning in a playoff series, maybe they go with him for the last roster spot. I've got an interesting take on Romero. I really like him. I think he's going to make an impact in the major league team because he will get them a necessary piece they need at the deadline. I just don't think there's a spot on the roster for him. So I think that's how he's going to make an impact to the team and the franchise is being a valuable trade asset.
I don't think Romero makes his debut without a crazy injury to someone.
Yeah, no, but I'm just saying, like, I believe in the player, but I believe in the player fetching the major league team the haul that they need this summer.
The player value, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Sure.
I mean, you could just go to Will's whole thing spiel there, because it was literally mine. I mean, I think Bennett just makes a lot of sense. So like when we saw the rundown of this exercise of these exercises,
put Bennett, yeah.
I think we all immediately looked at Bennett. Well, and the main reason why we all looked at Bennett is because if you really look at the top 10 to 15, if they haven't already made their debut, we're not really expecting them to be up until 27, 28 anyway. Kyson Witherspoon's a part of that. I mean, Bennett, we don't even know if, like you mentioned, like Will mentioned, we don't even know if he's even going to be up here. It's a very interesting, that top 10 is kind of just, they're young. I mean, it's that's the problem, is that there's still a lot of guys there who need some help and need to really, like, some more fine tuning. Mikey Romero is just my guy, man. I've liked him since he was drafted. I love the connection between him and Marcelo Mayer as well. That was awesome. Like, they're just two guys who came from the same area, and it was like they were so excited. He was so excited to call Marcelo Mayer when he got drafted, and Mayer actually called him immediately when he heard that he got drafted. And, like, I thought that was such a cool story. But, like, I've been keeping tabs on him for, since he got drafted, and I just have been praying that I get to see him in a Red Sox uniform the same way I was hoping for Mayer, because there were so many trade possibilities there as well. But I would love to see him in a Red Sox uniform for my own personal self, that I would just love to see him make his debut and just play at Fenway. But yeah, I mean, Jake Bennett is the most obvious one there, because you hope that he comes up like James mentioned in like a Peyton Toll capacity, like he did last year, where it's like, yeah, he can make a start, but he would be a very, very good option out of the bullpen. I mean, the man's 6'6", 234. I mean, he's a presence, man, and I think he would be, if he's able to get it together, and like the theme of this show, if he's able to stay healthy, there is definite, high potential there.
I think you guys said it perfectly. I think the two obvious ones were Mikey Romero and Jake Bennett. And like you just said, Johnny, if you look at the top 10, even if you look at the top 15, there's not many guys that haven't made their major league debut in there. But that's why I'm going to go with someone else. And he's really impressed us this spring. And he's had a crazy story. It's Noah Song. Noah Song, we all know the story about him, the Air Force Academy, taken by Dave Dabrowski in the Rule 5 draft and returned back to the Red Sox. But Noah Song's had an incredible spring training so far. He's made it up to AAA last year. The fastball is almost 2 full ticks down than it was when he was originally drafted by the Red Sox. But I think Noah Song's kind of a guy that can get up to the major leagues, make his major league debut, find his way on as a low leverage reliever if somebody gets hurt. And then he's like that 5th or 6th inning guy. And I think he could be very, very successful in that role. So that's why I'm going Noah Song, just a little bit out of the box. I think everybody was going to pick Mikey Romero. That's when I gave this question. That's what I thought it was going to be, 3 Mikey Romeros. So Noah Song was the guy I went with.
I've got an out-of-the-box name, and I won't keep this answer long. Just a name to throw out there, and then we can touch on it if he makes the team or whatever. Tyler Uberstein.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I think Sox Prospect has him at 16 or 17 in the system. We can get we can get into that later, but there's another one.
Yep.
I think it was at like 12 or 13 when I looked, but yeah,
sure.
He's a definite possibility. And I don't think he'll make the roster out of spring training, but
Sox Prospects has him at 13. He was 17 in their end.
Did he get called up last year? And no, I know there was a lot of talk about it, but no, I don't remember. Did he ever make it? He didn't make it, right?
No. He was no.
Yeah. So he was one of those options that was like a fringe guy and didn't make it.
Yep.
Yeah. So I think we're going to end it here with just give your one hot take. I have one. I'll start off with mine.
I was going to say, you got to lead us off for one, man.
I think the Red Sox will get no hit this season. I just think there's a lot of holes in this lineup. Caleb Durbin's the kind of guy that doesn't strike out a lot, puts the ball in play, but I think they get no hit this year, and I think it'll happen early on in the season. I think Trevor Story is going to struggle out of the gate. I think some of these guys will struggle out of the gate. and they'll falter in a. I think it'll be a big name pitcher. I'm not going to name a pitcher, but it'll be a big time name, and they'll dominate us. I think we'll strike out like 14, 15 times, and we'll get no hit. I think it's going to be one of those classic. Remember when Clayton Kershaw threw his no hitter, and the only base runner was the air by Hanley Ramirez?
Yeah.
I think it'll be a dominant performance like that, where it was almost a perfect game, but it wasn't. And the pitcher pitched like it should have been a perfect game.
Okay.
I like how you started us off with like a negative, negative hot take. I guess better than ending with a negative hot take. That's fine. I can go next. So mine's quick. I think for the first time since the 2018 season, we'll have a hitter hit 40 homers, and that's Willie Abreu. I think everything's
40.
lining up.
Wow.
I think he hits over 40. Yep. Let's hope he does, because that means that he stays healthy.
No doubt.
And then also too, I think that's a trickle down effect too at the trade deadline. If he's hitting 40 plus homers in the season, I think that allows us to shift our focus at the trade deadline away from a power bat into more of a immediate need than a clear 3 or 4 hitter.
You can go, James.
All right. So I've got 2 because the first one is not a super hot take, but I think Cedar Rafael wins the platinum glove. Gold glove is not a hot take. He wins the platinum glove.
He should have won it this year.
Sure. Second, well, it's because he's going to play a full season in center field. Here's my hot take: the Red Sox will have a hitter hit 3 home runs in a game this year.
Okay. Do you have a player
like that.
that you think it will be, or
I think Wilson Contreras. I think Wilson Contreras will have a 3-homer game this year.
Okay.
You talk about him being able to pull the ball playing in a pull-friendly park. I think he's going to be top 3 on the team in doubles and have a 3-homer game this year.
Has that happened since that Steve Pierce game against the Yankees at Fenway?
Mookie did in 19
Okay.
Against the Yankees. JD did in 21 against Baltimore. I remember early in the season at Baltimore.
Okay.
Let's look right now.
JD was their last 40, right?
Yeah,
2018.
in 2018.
40?
Casas hit 3 at the end of 24 against Minnesota.
Yes, the Twins.
That's Sunday afternoon game at Fenway, and then Story that series against the Mariners where he popped off that first game that Thursday night.
In 2022.
Yeah,
He had 10 RBIs or some 9 RBIs that night or something.
Yeah.
Is JD he's got to be like one of few to do it twice, right?
What, a 3-homer game?
Yeah, because he did it in Arizona too.
No, that was a 4.
He had 4.
Yeah.
Either way, 3 and
Yeah.
Is he one? He's got to be one of few.
I would imagine so.
To have multiple three
plus
or
games.
more homer games.
Yeah. So there's my hot take. The Red Sox have a hitter who hits 3 homers in a game this year. I'll go out on a limb saying it's Contreras, but I'll take credit for anyone who does it.
Okay.
All right, my hot take is Cedar Rafaela hits 30 homers this year.
All right.
I mean, I don't think that one happens, but I think 20 is definitely possible.
It's a hot take for a reason.
If he hits 30,
you gotta stop being fucking negative, dude.
He is
Believe in
Part of
something.
this off negative. I tried being positive to end it, and here
Yeah,
you are.
man.
I don't think that's gonna happen.
Here
Like,
is
come
what
on,
I'm going to
man.
break
Dude,
down.
he's gonna hit 29, and Nick is gonna be like, "See, you didn't get it right."
If
I
you
hope
got
he- I hope he
Crochet
hits
leading
29
the team
with-
in WAR, you can't have him hitting 30 because that means he is going to.
That wasn't, but Crochet wasn't a hot take.
You owe
That's just
him-
gonna happen.
You owe
No,
him a
I hope
steak dinner if Sadon hits 30 home runs.
One's
If
a
he
hot
hits
take.
30, yeah, let's
One's
do it.
gonna happen. Like,
Yeah. Rafael, I'm very high on him, but if he hits 30,
Beautiful.
he's the best player in the league.
no fucking doubt, baby.
You guys got anything else? I don't have anything else for tonight.
I'm
but
excited to
I
kick
ha-
things off next Thursday in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a lot of
Let's do it.
fun. We'll just talk about what we're going to do. So next week, we're 7 days away from opening day. I've never been this excited to get into a baseball season and start talking baseball like this. We're going to be live after almost every important game. We're going to get into breakdowns of the game. We're going to talk with you guys. And what we're aiming for is audience interaction. So we had 3 comments tonight. I missed the first one Italy, beamed up the whole tournament when we were talking about the WBC. And then I got a couple about Rafaela later on when we're talking about war leaders. But that's the main goal: interact with our audience and go from there. So we'll be live almost every. We'll definitely be live at least once a series. We'll go after every important game, and we'll be with you guys going forward. So it'll be this group. If you guys want to follow us on Twitter, if you want to give one last one, mine is at N Diamond Media. James, if you want to give your Twitter and the last plug,
At
go
15
ahead.
Higgins. At 15 Higgins.
I'm at Johnny F Baseball.
And I'm at Big League Will on all socials.
All right. Well, thanks, guys. I had a lot of fun and can't wait to do this again.
Me too. Let's go
With
Sox.
my voice next time. With my voice next
With
time.
your voice.
And positivity.
Yeah, positivity.
I don't see that happening.
No, once the game starts, it'll be different. You never know. But yeah, I had a lot of fun, guys. Thanks so much, and stay tuned for a lot more. All right. We are done. All right, we're not live anymore.
Wait, so where was it live on?
Just YouTube.
I got you. Okay.
Is it only going to be live on YouTube going forward, or is it Twitter